Hey guys, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO. I was going to take a walk this morning, but the more I thought about it, and I got in late last night from being on the road, I thought, instead I thought I'd do a video, just recap what the week has been like. Dealing with the Vemma situation, looking at what the FTC had to say, really caused me to sit back and ponder, what can we do as a community to make things better? What can the DSA do? What can influencers do? What can each company do? I talked with Jay Lesner. He sent me over an email last night, and I got to thinking about that. And I thought, one of the biggest accomplishments I've had is being part of the Direct Seller's Edge educational conference, because we're able to help companies establish those basic guidelines, what they need. And it's something that I think, whether you're an older company or a younger company, we all need to go back to the basics. We all need to go back and look at, are we inside the guidelines? Are we outside the guidelines? Are we within what seems to be acceptable practices? And I think sometimes, Richard Brooke told me this many years ago when I was going through my own situation. He said sometimes we get so close to the forest we can't see the trees, and I think sometimes that is what we do. I read the DSA. I'm going to put these up in the blog post, but I read the DSA's comments. They've done a thorough analysis. And the bottom line from the DSA is that they believe that all companies should have due process whenever they get hit with regulatory issues. But they said we don't see any changes in the FTC's stance on pyramids, how they decide, is this company a pyramid or not? And I thought about that from I've read from their general counsel, and I read from Joe Mariano what he put out, and I got to thinking about that over the last couple of days as I read their review, I read their responses. And as a member company of the DSA, which Vemma is, and having an organization that has as much political clout, as much lobbying power, as much finances as the DSA had, I wondered why they had not reviewed their own member companies. If the FTC is looking at Vemma, and this is not something that happens overnight, this is something that usually could be 6 months, could be a year, could be 2 years, however long it is, you don't know, you're not told that. But if the FTC is looking at business practices of Vemma, if they're looking at different things that they feel, hey, this could be a pyramid, hey, there's things that are happening here, we need to discuss it, then it seems to me that the DSA, part of the reason companies pay so much money annually to the DSA would be to get guidance, to have the DSA staff looking periodically. There's only a couple hundred members of the DSA, so it's not like this is some big task, but it would seem to me that the DSA would be looking. They wouldn't just be saying, hey, are you guys compliant in every area? Oh, yeah, we're compliant. Everything's great. No, they would be doing what the FTC does. They would be looking at what's out there publicly. They would be looking at the websites. They would be looking at some of the materials that are printed and some of the videos that are created. And they would be calling up the founders of the companies or the compliance team or somebody in the executive staff and saying, hey, we've got some concerns. We'd like to talk to you about this. We think, based on our understanding of what the FTC looks at, that you guys could be a susceptible target for being out of compliance. Maybe they did that to Vemma. Maybe Brad or Peter or BK or somebody had been notified, and maybe they were trying. Who knows? But I haven't heard that. I've talked to several people, and it doesn't seem that that's the case. But I think that if we're going to have an association like the DSA, that they should come alongside their member companies, not after they get hit by the FTC or the SEC or the FDA. They should be there to help monitor, to help fix any issues that might be there. Influencers are supposed to be here to help. And this is not just a bang at the DSA. It's just, I'm looking at everything right now. I'm looking at what do we do as a community to make sure this doesn't happen again. Some of the issues that we've seen this week is the blatant attack on the line of sponsorship of Vemma. You know, I've seen Alec Morton, you know, do periscopes and videos sharing his side of why he left, and right in the middle of the video he says, you know, the first person I called was somebody cross-lined to me in Vemma that I knew wasn't happy. A blatant violation of policies and procedures. Probably didn't think about it at the time, but now he's over at Jeunesse and they're out here publicly, you know, trying to get the people to join them at Jeunesse. And somebody said, Troy, what's it matter? I'm seeing people from Isogenics do it. I'm seeing people from Zango do it. I see people everywhere trying to grab these people. Heck, man, I'm not even in Vemma, and I've had people email me just because we've been covering this story. Here's the issue with that, guys. If you read the order, which most people haven't, the order makes it very clear that nobody can touch the database, not BK, not anybody else, because case law has proven that it is a asset of the company. You know, when I think back of when Excel went bankrupt, their database was sold to Shackley, you know, because that's an asset of the company. Now, in most cases, well, not most, I guess, but in a lot of cases, that's the only asset, really, because everybody, you know, they license some formula from somebody else. In this case, you know, Vemma's got a lot of assets. But there's issues like this that nobody's educated on. So we have outsiders trying to raid an organization. We have independent professionals, ambassadors, affiliates inside of Vemma trying to keep their teams together that they have brought into the company. They're looking at this because at the end of the day, no matter what happens on the 3rd at the TRO hearing to see if they can get the temporary restraining order lifted, most of the growth in America is probably stopped for a while. You know, there's a lot of customers in Vemma, and those products can go on and be sold and things. And there's issues here that we can see. I mean, I've looked at this whole order here, and there's things that we can all learn from it. But at the end of the day, we need to start acting like the independent professionals that we want to be. It should not be a feeding frenzy when people are hurting. Most of those people are so emotionally in shock right now anyway, they wouldn't do your team much good. That YPR, that younger generation, they got a lot of passion, they've got a lot of spunk, but they've also got a lack of education of what it takes in direct selling to do it right. Most of them have only been with one company, Vemma. Now they're over at Jeunesse, or they're spreading out all over the place. But there's a professional way of doing business. And as I close this out, this needs to hit home to everybody watching this. A lot of you guys think that the direct selling industry is not regulated. We are one of the most highly regulated sales professions out there. Not just the direct selling side itself, but the underlying industries in which you use this channel. So every time you guys are out there shooting videos, every time you're doing a periscope, somebody is taking a picture, somebody's recording what you're doing online, and then that can come back to hurt you. One of the largest things that we have to look at in this case right here is if the FTC's complaint and their charges are found to have merit, and a judge says, yes, I'm going to leave the TRO in place. If after the court hearings, a judge or a jury rules that the FTC is correct, then for the last 7 years, maybe the last 11 years, depending on how far back they want to go, it was New Vision, and then it changed its name to Vemma. No matter how far back they want to go, the FTC will start clawing back all the commissions that have been earned. In at least one company, they went down to earnings of $1,000. Many of you have left Vemma and gone on and have got great sales organizations elsewhere. Some of you are still at Vemma. So before people go raiding the database, before people think that this is not a major deal, this is huge. I'm glad the DSA said, hey, it doesn't look like auto ships are really problematic. But what is problematic is the way that the cultures in all the companies seem to try to hit the gray area and then they go past that, never realizing that if they screw it up for the company, and if the company founders don't rein back in and take control of the culture, and the FTC comes in and says, this is a pyramid. That all that money that you've spent, because very few of you save it, all that money that's spent will be clawed back, which means there's going to be deals that have to be made. That means that there's going to be, got a helicopter going. That means that there's going to be lawyers that you have to pay. In some cases, that means bankruptcy. Give this a thought before you just go out there and act like this isn't a big deal or act like your company's not doing anything wrong. Enticements, income claims, videos, Periscope, Facebook, everything that I constantly seem to be nitpicking on is so important. I've never seen a company yet that has been brought down by any regulatory authority because of some major problem that was just found out. Instead, it's been an accumulation of little bitty things that put cracks in the foundation. And then all of a sudden, bam, major in the minor issues. Get compliant, get control of your cultures, do it right, or go home. Live life like it's an epic adventure. Stay dangerous, stay strong, and if you're in network marketing, act like it.